for a little adventure.
Okay. We're going to skip around a bit in this thing. We're going to look at some of the game mechanics and some of the game systems that reinforce the player experience. First of all, clearly the graphics and the sound and so forth. This is a stealth horror game. This is one of the Bendy series. So, right away you can see the graphics and the environmental design are going to force this. Now, I'm going to skip around a bit in this and kind of go through pieces of it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Okay. So first of all, we're given a goal. Let's see here. Where is our? There we go. Okay, so we have a picture of our character. Here's our objectives. Go to the elevator. So first of all, what it does is it gives us a set of objectives. Part of this is exploration, but notice it gives us a handy little sort of visual cue so we know which way to go. We can't interact with everything. If I try to get into a door, okay, clearly it's a first-person perspective. I can actually kind of see myself, which is kind of interesting. All right. So again, a little bit of a jump scare. Okay. So notice it forces me to look back on the something behind me. We'll see that later in the mechanics. But what it's doing here is it's using this sort of environmental stuff to enhance the feeling. Okay. So can't get through here. Here's a flashing red light. So I'm going to go through here. Again, the environment's pretty straightforward. All right, so again, notice my system here.
Really? They locked me in? Good thing I brought my own key today.
All right, so it forces me retrieve your office keys. Again, it's sort of a adventure slash. This is a fairly linear game. I mean, it's a horror game, but a lot of stealth horror, survival horror is pretty linear. Okay, so I have to go back to my office. It gives me the little indicator. Okay, well, that wasn't there before.
Who put this here?
All right, can't interact with it, so let's go back to my office and get my keys. There they are. Okay. Again, notice I have to highlight in order to get something. So it doesn't show me where it is. It just shows me the general area. But when I get close, the mechanics, I have to get close to it. It highlights.
Here's the key.
Okay. So that's going to be a game mechanic that forces me to get close to something before I can interact. And again, I have to explore. It forces me to explore the area. Okay. So I have to go back to get to the door. And there was a statue here, Bendy statue, but it apparently is now gone. Okay. So again, notice the mechanics on this one. So we're trying to enhance the sort of spookiness of the situation, and so I have to go through and send my keys back and so forth. Okay. So let's jump ahead a little bit. Let me see. Control F11. Okay, further on in the game, we've met our little guy here who is sort of as we're going to see later, a protagonist. And in order to progress, I followed him down here to get the electrical fixed and so forth. In order to talk to him, I have to get close and then interact. Okay, again, this is a mechanic that, for just like we did when we find stuff, we get a general location, but we have to.
Looks like someone's been messing with the exhibits. There should be something on each of these pedestals. Audrey, sweet Audrey.
Kind of crummy voice acting, but whatever.
Favor and go find them. I'll tend to the power.
Okay, so here we have a tutorial section. You have to find stuff and put it on each pedestal, and then it'll progress the game. And so they give you one right over here, so you can pick it up. Okay, and then what you do is you go find the matching thing. Okay, and the reason they do this is more for a tutorial feature, so that you learn how to go through and locate stuff and find stuff. So again, I'm going to skip ahead on this one. Okay, here we're back in. And again, we're the objectives. Okay, at this point we've been transported into the sort of animation world covered in ink. And we have to escape the studio, find a way out. Everything's pretty linear. Okay. Now, part of this game, the experience in this game is going to be stealth horror. And the experience they're trying to push here, and this is the old guy that got us into this old creepy guy. He has posters all over the place. The man who killed the ink demon. Okay. Welcome home. So what we have to do is get out of here. Now, part of this is a puzzle game. So we're going to have to do primarily environmental puzzles to get through things. Okay. And there's some other mechanics that we'll look at a little bit later when we get to them. First of all, if I try to walk through this ink, it slows down my progress. So here the game mechanic, if I get stuck in a bunch of ink, I can't move as fast. So that's going to be a problem. Secondly, they're giving me these little things here that I can pick up. Okay. And I can take these in the pause menu. So here's my pause menu. Here's the list of objectives. Okay. So as I collect these things, I can read them. Again, this does narrative progression. Notice it also gives me search. So what it's trying to do is give me a feeling that, this is a world I've never seen before. I have to interact with it. But in order to do so, I got to get close. In other words, it doesn't give me indication. It'll give me indication on things like the notes and the recordings. But searching, I have to move up close to something to search it. So again, anything, here's another one. Okay, I'm not going to read all of these. But if they're available, they'll go in. Okay. So the mechanics here are going to reinforce the experience of I have to find stuff to get out. Okay. Well, it gives me a picture of what I need. Okay. So I need a couple of those things. So I have to find those in the environment. And again, it highlights as I move the mouse over it. So here's my ink covered body here. And again, I have the background noises and the... Okay. Now here's another interesting mechanic place. So again, it's pretty simple, but what this does is this reinforces the experience of having to explore the environment. Okay. Now here's an interesting, we'll see this later on. Here's an interesting mechanic. So I have to climb up here. Now you notice it gives me a highlight and then the climb. Okay, so I interact. I have to manually climb. I can wait. It doesn't automatically climb for me. I use the up. But notice, as I climb, it lowers the picture. In other words, I can't really see as I climb off of this thing. And that's going to be a mechanic that it uses for various jump scares a little bit later. So where are we here? Let's grab this. Another read, background narrative. Again, environmental stuff. Typical C to crouch. Okay. There'll be another jump scare here in a minute. So.
Attention, children of the machine. This is Wilson, your friend, your protector. For 211 days, you've lived without the ink demon haunting your steps. I banished him away, tore his body in two. In return, I asked just a little favor. Among you, there is a stranger, a young lady. Bring her to me.
All right. So here's another, again, I'm not going to read them. Okay. We've also got this stuff. So again, typical hiding. At this point, it doesn't serve any purpose, but it gives us the sort of typical horror game hiding mechanic. All right. Like I say, part of the experience is going to be the environment, big part, because we have these things that appear occasionally. All right. So here, the mechanics, as we saw before, are going to slow down movement as I have to walk through this junk, the ink. Okay. So I have to crouch. I'm moving a whole lot slower because the ink is kind of making it. So part of the horror experience, if I'm running something, and there will be things you're going to run from, you run across the ink, you're going to go a lot slower. You can't get through the ink very easily. So they're giving me a lot of background narrative. Okay. And I don't really care at this point. Now, again, this is all very linear. The door that you're not going to get through are closed. You can't get to them. Okay, so there'll be another jump scare. Shows you one of these guys that you're going to eventually start running from, so you don't want to get tied up with these guys too much. Again, they've taught you a little bit about looking for environmental stuff. So, okay. Now here's a recording which I'm not going to play. You can pick it up.
I just received the call. Joey Drew is dead.
All right, I'm going to listen to it later. Okay, but you notice the sequence here. So it led me down into a dead end. All right, here's another mechanic climbing with these things. So it's going to show us now again. Watch the climb mechanic. The purpose of this is you don't know what's up there. It shows you the direction to go with the little icon on the screen, so it's kind of leading me, hand holding me. So let's climb up here. Okay, you notice that I didn't have to manually climb. Once I engaged, it climbs for me. So I don't stop, I just go straight up. And again, that's going to be forcing me to have an experience later that, well, we'll see. Okay. Again, here's a hide locker. Here's a search locker. Most of the search lockers don't have anything in them. So, and here's a security override. You can kind of see the. So we have an interaction. Okay, left shift to run, even though there's nothing to run from at this point. Okay, but again, notice the prompts on the screen. Left shift to run. Should I run? It tells me just in case I want to know how to run. Okay, well, what to run from? So we have lights under the curtains. Where am I going? Okay, another one of these guys. And then I go, again, very linear level design. So it's kind of moving me from place to place, which is, okay. Looking for stuff. Oh, I can search. Notice it gave me the search. When I look at it to find stuff, I hear a noise over here. So it's coordinating my actions with sound effects. Okay, let's go this way. All right, let's go through this little sequence right here. Now, remember the climbing stuff. So far, I haven't seen anything threatening. I've just been linear moving through places. So the climbing stuff is set. The mechanics where I climb either through ladders or through other stuff. Okay. Can't search, nothing here. Okay. Can't go this way, there's nothing over here. So the environmental design, the level design, can't get through that guy. Only one way up. So it's already shown me how to get stuff. Okay. Anything here? No. Okay. So it's kind of taught me to check for things. Okay, I know that these things will interact. Let's pull it. Okay, well that doesn't work. Okay. So what this does is this is another game mechanic. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Okay. So now I see, okay, now notice that little thing up there, the little visual indicator on some kind of a message or something. Okay. So as I come around the corner, they've set the design up so that I see something up there. I've learned how to climb ladders. Okay, I learned how to climb stuff. So let's go, and again, I get a prompt to climb. It doesn't automatically climb. So this mechanic makes me make a decision. I have to get close. Okay, now I get a jump scare. I'm going to run. Gives me an indicator. Okay, another jump scare. Okay, this is all, the design's pretty scripted. All right, so notice it gives me a health bar now. So the mechanics, at this stage I haven't had any damage. I get a little bit of a health bar decrease. So let's exit. Now it gives me a help on food. I got to find food if I have low health. And it just so happens this thing is now available to search. All right, so I consume food immediately when I get it.
That if I were you. It helps patch you up, but the aftertaste, it's not so good. Easy now, I'm not gonna hurt you. It looked like you needed some help.
Don't touch me. What are you?
And then we have a cutscene.
What is this horrible place?
Yeah, I remember my first day down here. I know, it's scary. But you're actually pretty lucky. The machine could have turned you into a searcher.
You mean that thing that attacked me?
No, that's a Piper. And he's part of a gang, so be careful.
I don't understand any of this. I can't think. It hurts.
You'll catch on pretty quickly, if you can stay alive. Lesson 1. Searchers don't have legs and they tend to swarm. Look, it's not good to stay in one place for too long around here. Keep moving, and stay close to the shadows. Take my advice. Head to the upper levels. It's safer there.
Can I come with you?
You can't. I'm sorry. I have a wolf. He doesn't care for strangers.
A wolf?
Like I said, you'll catch on. Good luck. I hope we meet again. Oh, and one more thing. Above everything else, stay away from the ink demon.
What's an ink demon?
Oh, you'll know him when you see him. He likes to smile, and he kills anything that moves.
Wait! What's your name?
They call me Alice. I'm not very fond of it.
I'm Audrey.
Well, Audrey, welcome to the studio.
Okay, and then she's gone. All right, so now we're given the same chapter 1. So all this is kind of a tutorial prelim. But you can see the mechanics, and you can basically the environmental design and the mechanics. This is the experience they're trying to get. So this is a stealth horror game. I'm going to have to stealth, find stuff. Okay, see if this little guy is still up here. And all of this is designed to enhance the experience of the player. All right, so again, we get some more, which I'm not going to read. Okay. All right, so the point of this is to look at the player experience. All of this is designed to get the player to have some kind of a horror, jump scare, dread, whatever kind of experience. Horror games are easy because with horror games, the experience you want the player to have is pretty straightforward and pretty clear to do. Okay, so here we're trying to get through stuff. We're trying to find things. Okay, they said move up, but I can't do anything. So I need to find a switch or something if I want to go there. But she did say move up. So I'm going to climb up again. Okay, so because the last time I climbed up this and it...
Double quota then, Mr. Flynn.
All right, Boris the wolf. Oh, so she's got a wolf. Maybe it's Boris. All right, well, we don't care about that. So let's back out here. All right, so we got to get out of here somehow. And this door is now open. Anything, so we've already learned how to do. Okay, so now we have a mirror. Again, this is going to be part of the game design. So what we want the player to feel is this sort of, okay. Okay, so player mechanics, player systems, health system, exploration systems. Pretty linear. This is a pretty linear horror game. At some point, you're going to have to go through stealth sequences to avoid being killed by the ink demon and so forth. So all of this stuff is scripted very carefully. And again, this enhances the player experience because it's scripted real carefully. Okay, we'll look at another game later, but this sort of gives you an idea. When we talk about player experience, the designers decided this is the kind of experience I want the player to have. So from there, they said, okay, well, let's see, what other experiences do we want the player to have to sort of contribute to the overall horror / dread, whatever you want to call it. So one of these is the health system. Another is having objects pop up as jump scares. Another is the linear design of the structures. Another is the recordings we get kind of spill in the background narrative and so forth. So the narrative design is part of the player experience because we listen to the recordings, we read the notes. All of this contributes to the overall player experience. So when you decide on the experience, you can start early in the design process, start sketching out what sort of things you want to contribute to the experience.